So one of my most asked for requests is a tutorial on how I do my masking transition. Now there's nothing new about masking. There's plenty of tutorials out there on the internet. So if you just do a quick search, you'll find probably dozens of videos. However, there aren't very many videos for real estate specific use cases. So today I'm going to show you how I mask my transition to basically take myself from the outside to the inside of a house. Let's go ahead and get started. What's good, everybody? Ken here. You're watching OriginaldoBo. Today is going to be a real estate video tutorial. We're talking about masking, why I use it, and honestly, it's probably one of the easiest things to do. I'm going to be demonstrating in Premiere Pro. I've talked about this before. I've done demonstrations of this in live streams, so I figure we'll do this in video form so it makes a little bit more sense at a slower pace. Let's go ahead and jump into Premiere Pro and I'll show you what I have set up here. So I have a edit that I'm actually working on right now. This is a live edit I just shot today. And I am going to get us from the outside to the inside by masking in front of this pillar. You'll see there's a pillar just to the right of the door. And I am going to use that as my key point to mask inside the house. So the first thing I want to do is find my starting point, which is going to be basically right here, this left edge of that pillar. And it's going to end right as it passes to the right edge. Now I've trimmed just enough to make this work, so it should be pretty easy. So I'm going to right click on my main screen here and I'm going to move the magnification to 10%. So I move my magnification to 10% so I can be able to mask this entire window here. The next thing I'm going to do is click on this top clip and I'm going to go to opacity and you'll see it's going to blank everything out around it. And we're just going to click on invert. So basically we just want to make sure that this box is going to stretch just over the entire window here, just sort of like this. I stretch like all the way across just to give myself enough. And then I bring it all the way to the left. The next thing I'm going to do is go to the very beginning portion of this clip right before it goes past it. Like, so right about there is the beginning. And I'm going to hit a mask path. I'm putting a keyframe, which is a toggle animation. And then I'm also going to put a mask feather. So this is going to like sort of blend the mask just a little bit. Now, a lot of people use 20. I have been finding myself using 30 as of recently. And I feel like that works really well. Now I'm going to go ahead and zoom all the way in on this. Now I used to go frame by frame by frame, but what I found more recently is I don't have to go frame by frame by frame. So check this out. I'm going to go 1, 2, and I can sort of see just the edge is showing just a little bit. So then what I'm going to do is just bring this mask right about here, just like that. And then I'm going to click back on my clip and go 1, 2, and then just drag it over just to touch that edge. So I'm basically going 2 frames. So 1, 2, 2 frames. Now 2 frames works really well for me, and I would highly suggest using this because it goes so fast that you're just not going to notice that frame. It's easier than going frame by frame by frame, which is what I used to do, which if you go frame by frame by frame, you may notice that like your mask wobbles a little bit. So in order to eliminate that wobbling, I always suggest to do 2 frames. That's just what I found works better for me recently. So I'm going to go ahead and just keep repeating this all the way through, just going 2 frames and go 1, 2, and just slowly but surely just working this mask all the way across. Now you got to be obviously very, very careful what type of object you do this against. This has a nice flat edge, so it's going to work out perfectly. But if you don't have a nice flat edge, you're probably not going to want to do this. So if it's something jagged like tree branches, it may take a little bit longer period of time to make this mask transition actually work. So let's keep going. And there we go. So it takes a little bit. So I'm going to speed up this process since I don't think you need to see it all the way through, but just know I'm going 2 frames, frame by frame by frame. All right, so I'm done going ahead and making the mask. Like I said, 2 frames has worked out pretty well. And now what I can do is I can go ahead and hit the magnification and go to fit. So once I do that, I can go ahead and play it back. And this is sort of what it's going to look like. Now you're going to see like this sort of graphical error. I think my graphics card's actually going, but it gives a nice smooth transition. And now I could speed that transition up if I want, but I don't think I really need to. Another pro tip, you want to make sure that you're sort of going the way that the transition's actually moving. So my transition's going left, but you can see I'm panning to the left, or my transition's going right, but I'm going left. I mean, you can go either left or right with it. I feel like this actually gives a really unique look. It actually looks like the transition's going a lot slower than it would actually appear. And it just gives a really unique look. So now that that's done, let's talk about the color grading process, because we have this door here. I color grade directly onto the clips when I'm doing any sort of masking. So I'm going to go ahead and grab my LUT. I'm going to go grab that Fuji LUT that I always like to use. This was filmed with the Panasonic, but I'm going to use the Fuji to Eterna. So a couple of things I want to go ahead and look at when I'm color grading this. I just want to make sure that I can get a little more shadow in there. So something like that. And a little bit more contrast is probably needed. And I can lower down these highlights just a tad. And I'll probably warm this up just to give it a little bit more depth. But there we go. So color grading wise, that's basically it for that. I want it to look as natural as possible. And the second thing I'm gonna do is go ahead and color grade this clip right here for this bedroom. Same thing, gonna grab the Eterna LUT. Now the Eterna LUT is a very filmic style look. It just has a very unique look to it. So it sort of is what it is. I feel like the white balance is dead nuts. I really made sure that this white balance was as good as it possibly could be. I am gonna add a little bit more contrast to this, and then just sort of bump up the exposure to make it just a tad bit brighter, but then lower down my highlights to get a little bit more pull through on the window. And that's basically it. So let's play that back and see how it looks. But there you go. I hope this gives some insight into this masking technique. It's super easy to do. And you can do it multiple ways. I actually do usually 2 masks in every shoot. But yeah, if you have any questions or you need some further explanation, let me know. But yeah, I'll be sure to also include links to these Fuji LUTs in the description below. I'm really pushing these LUTs because they're absolutely amazing. And they work with so many different types of cameras beyond just Fuji, but really easy way to give sort of a wow factor to your video. Now, one more thing though, is if you are doing this and you do plan on adding a speed ramp, I do always sort of add a little bit of directional blur. I'm not going to do it on this one because I don't think it needs it, but directional blur could enhance it just ever so slightly. All right, that's going to do it for today's video and tutorial. If you enjoyed, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe if you already haven't for more real estate tutorials just like this. I'll see you in the next one. Stay original.